This video is going to be a bit more serious. It's going to be slightly longer than most, but it's a video I've been wanting to make for a long time. Right, back again with another video. To be honest, I was a bit nervous about making this video because I don't know how people are going to take it. You know, people might think that I was trying to be, I don't know. But basically, the topic of this video is, you know, is it worth getting InstaFamous? Is it worth being social media famous? I know it might seem a little ridiculous for me to be covering this topic with my whole 35 YouTube subscribers and 3,000 followers on Instagram, but as a large consumer of social media myself for nearly a decade, I felt like I do have some sort of authority on this subject, at least from an outside perspective. You know, I don't really watch TV anymore, apart from sports and the odd reality TV show. The main source of information that I get nowadays is from, you know, Instagram or YouTube. And this is why this topic really interests me. What really prompted me to make this video though is when I found myself not necessarily obsessed with the likes, but rather becoming acutely aware that I really did care about them. For me, because you see, for me, I care about the likes, the comments, the shares, purely from a business perspective. Because the higher the engagement on your post, you know, the better ranked your post is by Instagram. Thus, the higher the chances of your post being put on the explore page on Instagram. And that's what you should aspire for if you're trying to grow your account on Instagram. If you make the explore page, then that's how you get viral and that's how you grow the fastest. So why do followers even matter? And you know, obviously, that's obviously a very easy question, but I'm just trying to create some context here. So why do followers even matter? Well, because if you have, say, 10,000 followers, roughly 10,000 followers, it becomes a lot easier to approach people for work. And once you reach around 20,000 followers, people start to approach you for work. And past 30,000 followers, it becomes a lot easier for you to sell your own products, your own services. You know, so checking these numbers, checking the likes, the followers, the comments, all that, for me has always been, so far, has always been strictly business. You know, obviously I won't lie, I'm pursuing this influencer thing for my business, for both my business at Hornbilly and also for my career. So at this point, the likes, the comments, the shares are essentially my KPIs. And obviously it goes without saying that you need to take the emotion out of it, you know, when reading and analyzing these numbers. Especially if you're the star of your own content. You need to detach yourself emotionally from the numbers. You know, when you allow the numbers to dictate your self-worth, that's when social media becomes toxic. But granted, it is such a fine line, which is why I need to constantly remind myself that if something I produce doesn't perform well as I had hoped, then it's not because I suck, but because the work itself sucked, and therefore I need to work on my craft. It just means that I have to, you know, create something more engaging, something more educational, something more meaningful, something more valuable. But then you get another problem in that in chasing the numbers, you produce content that only serves to please your audience or to please an algorithm, and then you start to create content that's untrue to yourself. It happens all the time where influencers lose sight of who they really are. They forget, they don't know where their Instagram self starts and where their real life self begins. You know, the two become blurred, and essentially you start to lose your own identity. And I found that really interesting because I feel a lot of people aren't aware of that. For example, I was even considering, instead of making this video, I was considering making one of those dumb comparison videos that you see all the time in an attempt to play the algorithm. But I decided on this video because my mission has always been to provide content of substance, content that actually means something, whether it is to help you progress in fitness or to encourage you to actually start your own business. And I always try to make a genuine positive impact, something that you can take away with you and implement it immediately to start improving your life. Posting a half-naked picture of yourself and then captioning it with something like, surround yourself with good people or chase your dreams. That to me is not valuable. You know, over the years, I've followed tons of people online who've admitted to feeling seriously depressed because of this very thing, or at least of some form of this very thing of loss of identity, loss of sort of losing yourselves to chasing numbers, who don't create anything anymore and have stopped altogether. I think a lot of people don't understand is that it is it is really draining. Putting yourself out there online, but you know, sitting in front of a camera and then basically leaving yourself up for judgment for the whole world. So you get stuck in two minds. Do you create content regardless because you're indebted to your followers, because without them you'd be, you know, you'd essentially be nothing? Do you stay true to yourself and create content that you like, even if it means upsetting some of your following? You know, it can honestly mess with your head. And you know, on top of that, there's the constant pressure to create something constantly, whether it be, you know, to create something weekly or even daily. I myself as a consumer exert that same pressure. You know, I constantly want my favorite influencers to put out new videos. You know, I sometimes get annoyed when they miss an upload. Like how crazy is that? You know, which begs the question, like, is it really worth it? You know, becoming social media famous and all, essentially losing your identity. You know, the other big issue I found to be true as well of being InstaFamous is the loss of trust and generally becoming fake and dealing with fake people. So for example, there's this girl who goes to my gym, and you know, I see her all the time, but you know, I don't talk to her. But I know she has nearly 1 million followers, if not, I don't know, she might have 1 million by now. She's unbelievably influential. Yeah, from time to time, I check out her page, you know, because, you know, why not? And you could literally, you know, she could literally mention something about some random toothpaste in passing, and you know, the next day it would sell out. Like, that's how influential she is. I bring her up because I don't know if it's just in my head. Yeah, I could just be seeing things, but she seems to be on edge all the time whenever I see her at the gym. You know, she comes into the gym, head down, does a workout, doesn't look up like once, and then straight back out. And I know that's 99% of the people who go to the gym anyway. Most people have their head down and don't really talk to anyone, which is fine. But she sometimes seems startled when someone comes up to her and asks her for something as harmless as, you know, is that bench next to you free? You know, she sometimes seems like just a bit like startled. Like, I don't know, maybe it's in my head. I know, and to be fair, I know most girls in the gym instinctively have their heads down, you know, and have a massive, you know, like piss off plastered to their forehead, just because, like, you know, out of instinct, because, you know, men are trash. But I just can't help but think that if I myself had a million followers, you know, I just can't help but think that if I myself had nearly 1 million followers, I'd be so wary of who I spoke to and of what their intentions are. I would constantly have in the back of my mind, are they talking to me because they want me to promote something for them? Is this person just my friend because I have this massive following? Which would then mean that you only really hang out with other people with massive followings. Then you'd ask yourself, would this other influencer still be my friend if I lost my following? Would they still be my friend if my brand, my content, you know, lost relevancy? I guess this whole trusting thing and this whole dealing with fake people comes part and parcel with being successful in general. Like, I guess it's not industry dependent. Another thing I fear is becoming fake myself. You know, I see meet and greets on Instagram and I can't help but think, would this influencer genuinely be giving this fan the time of day had it not been for the fact that this fan waited an hour to see them, or the fact that the fan has bought all of their merchandise? I know. For the most part, you know, it is, you know, the fan-influencer relationship is a mutually beneficial one. You know, the influencer produces content that helps inspire, educate, you know, the fan, whatever. And you know, and in return, the influencer can pay their bills. Let me put it another way. The fan-influencer relationship to me is so similar to the client-personal trainer relationship. The client-PT relationship I see on a daily basis. I was thinking to myself, especially when, you know, personal trainers post on Instagram sort of screenshots of the banter that they have with their clients, you know, on WhatsApp or whatever. I can't help but think that if this client stopped paying for their trainer's services, would this trainer give their client the time of day? And for the most part, I would say, I don't know, I would say no. I don't know, I just don't see why. They would, to be honest. I have mixed feelings about it. When you show you post publicly about your relationship with your clients, because at the same time it serves as an ad, but at the same time it shows that you're a real person. I feel funny about it. As a businessman, you come good at sussing out bullshit, and you're always looking out for bullshit, and it just makes you a bit cynical, I guess. I hope, obviously I hope I'm wrong, and that, that there is a genuine connection, there is a genuine friendship between their clients, between client and PT. As a PT, it is very hard to, to constantly get, you constantly have to be, making new business. So at the same time, like, I get it, like, I respect it. So I feel like this about personal trainers who say have 20 or 30 clients a year. To be honest, I don't know how many clients, on average a PT has, but let's just say it's 20 or 30. Now, to put it into perspective, a top fitness influencer with hundreds of thousands of followers, if not millions, might do, say, 3 or 4 meet and greets a year. If not more, meeting and talking to hundreds of people at each. And in the space of a few years, they'll have spoken, met and greeted thousands of people, thousands of fans. For me personally, when you meet so many fans, I think you inevitably, involuntarily value each fan less and less. Like, as depressing as that might sound. But I'm just trying to be realistic here. It's like Tinder, isn't it? When you're presented with an almost unlimited number of possible suitors, people just become disposable. And of course, I hope I'm completely wrong about this. I want to be wrong about this. Trust me, I hope I want to be wrong about this. But these are just questions that pop up that I think about. Would they like me less if I hadn't bought all their merchandise? Or is that fair enough? I guess the real reason for this video is that it's for myself. It's to remind myself to stay grounded, to remind myself that you're never too important to be nice to someone. Because eventually I genuinely do think that I will get to a point where I will become an influencer, even though I am not now. Obviously I'm not now, but I do feel like with the way that things are going, I know if I just keep doing what I'm doing now, I will eventually come to a point where I will have these responsibilities essentially and have to deal with these things. So I'm just making this video early now because I think I feel like this video would matter to someone. Because when you become, self-employed, when you become an entrepreneur, it becomes, not saying that I have ever been dishonest, but I can see how people can easily justify being dishonest if it means that you gain something from it. I want to remind myself to stay true to myself, to be good to other people, and to be a person of genuine value. To give my final thoughts on my initial questions, is being InstaFamous worth it? Is it toxic? I would say yes. Yes, it is worth it. And no, it's not toxic, provided that you keep a lot of things in check. I choose to remain positive and hopeful about it. Make sure you have people who you can trust and who can give you reality checks. And I guess with time, you inevitably become better and better at sussing out who's full of shit and who's genuine. But those two initial questions have always fascinated me. Especially when I see how alienating it is or can be to be an influencer. I want to discuss these questions because having an online presence is so important if you want to survive in business in general today. If you want to have a business, knowing how to build an online following has become an integral part, an indispensable part of business. It's a non-negotiable. You have no choice. You have to have an online following nowadays, or at least know how to do it well. Today you get dentists, estate agents, accountants. Think of any job that you could possibly think of. These people have Instagram pages nowadays. Think about it. If you had to pick between 2 restaurants for dinner, which one would you choose? 99% of the time, I guarantee you would choose the restaurant with a better Instagram page. Would you more likely buy a pair of shoes that you saw in an ad on the tube, or would you buy a pair of shoes that you see every single day on the Instagram stories of your favorite fitness influencer as they smash through a workout? You know you would be more swayed by your favorite fitness influencer with whom you have an emotional connection with, essentially. You know, not that tube ad that you see in the corner of your eye as you sprint for the exit. You know, that ad that your brain hardly registers. You know, I used to really look down on social media. You know, I only really started using Instagram maybe 3 years ago. And I used to cringe at the thought of it, and used to think to myself, like, who gives a damn about your, who cares about your avocado toast? Yeah, I used to think the whole sharing of one's life, like every minute detail of one's life, to be just so mindless, just so dull, and like seriously, why are you telling the world that you've run out of milk? But now I get it. Like, I get why people do that. And you know, if you understand social media and how it works, and you know how to create a, you know, how to make a career from it, then you'd understand. I disagree with a lot of it, of course. I disagree with a lot of what people post online and whatnot. But I still get it. Today, the only people who think that influencers are stupid, pointless, talentless, cringe, are the ones who don't understand the power of an online following. And they are the ones who don't understand how businesses from now on will predominantly rely on a strong, engaged online following, which will no doubt involve some form of collaboration, some sort of cooperation with an influencer if they themselves aren't one. Traditional forms of marketing are dying. Like, they are dying. They are becoming less and less relevant by the day. The only people who will be able to afford traditional marketing, you know, such as like radio ads, TV ads, newspaper ads, are, you know, multinational corporations, like humongous brands. And even they understand that the best way, the most efficient way of reaching their clients is through influencers. That's why so many people are now sponsored by these big brands. If you want to have a successful business of any kind, literally any kind, you will have no choice but to learn how to grow a loyal and engaged following. And if not, you will be paying someone else to do it for you. And that service, I imagine, will only get more and more expensive. Or maybe not, maybe it might get cheaper as more and more people see the value in it. Anyway, to wrap this whole thing up, I'm arguing that, yeah, it is possible. I think it is possible to be successful online whilst maintaining your sanity and integrity. It just involves learning how to be really streetwise as well. Thank you so much if you made it to the end. Like, well done. Genuinely appreciated, because I know there was no way that I was going to make this video short, because this is like, you know, a slightly complex issue that, you know, it was a fascinating topic for me. You know, we always see like the glamorous side of social media. If I do ever get a chance to do a meet and greet, I genuinely promise I will be super grateful. Anyway, that's all from me. I am Zain. I'll see you guys. Hopefully it won't take me as long to create another video, but thank you so much. I'm Zain. Happy lifting, everyone. See you later. Bye.